I'm Didier Cossin, and it's a great pleasure to be here at Roche by the Rhine River with Christoph Franz, the chairman of Roche. Thanks for being with us, Christoph.
It's a pleasure, Didier.
So I would like today to talk about stakeholders and to address stakeholders. There are two categories of stakeholders I would like to get insights on, particularly patients, but also governments and national societies. So let's start with patients. How do you work from the board at having a patient's view of Roche?
We have a saying that doing now what patients need next. It is a constant reminder of the purpose of the company. Mm-hmm. And this is obviously also central for the board to always be conscious. Why are we doing things? Yes, the numbers are also important when you're running a company, but it is more the product and what can we deliver? How can we contribute for the positive development of this world?
So do you feel COVID has transformed your view as a board or as an organization, or it was already there and just amplified it somehow?
I would say it was already existing. We have an existing culture in the board, in the company, and we benefited from the alignment a culture is providing to everybody. You do not have to agree explicitly on many things because there are many things which are obvious. But for us, being in the very privileged situation to contribute to master the crisis via our diagnostic tests and also via having a look at our existing medicines, whether they can contribute to alleviate a little bit the burden of COVID-19. This is a privileged situation, and then you have to think of how can we deliver this in the best way, the fastest way to do it.
That's right. And clearly you have a massive role, right, as an organization during this crisis because of your diagnostics arm. Do you see that as a balancing act between the stakeholder and the shareholders, the stakeholder concerns and the profitability?
Right now, to be honest, I think it's less the angle of profitability which is in the forefront, but clearly there is a lot of involvement and interaction and collaboration with competitors. For example, to speed up development of medicine, we have engaged in the collaboration with a US company, Regeneron, to co-develop a certain medicine which is hopefully effective, we will see, to treat the disease and maybe even for prophylactic use. And this kind of sharing of capabilities has never been so pronounced as right now. And the same is true with regard to our interaction with regulators, particularly medical approval authorities. Today it's more a parallel approach. So while we are still generating insight and advancing, for example, clinical trials, they are already looking at interim data. They are discussing with us about the design of these trials. So that has changed and has speeded up the development, and I hope that this is something which will create a kind of lasting legacy which we can also use in post-COVID times, because it is benefiting to bring new innovative medicines and diagnostic tests faster to patients.
And so implications of your interaction with society in many different ways. How are the board discussions around that? Because your board is composed, of what I would call traditional business people, right? CEOs of large companies, possibly not from pharma. You have family members as well. You have scientists as well, right?
I think we have invested quite a lot in the past years to create an alignment and a common view on this business. But you are emphasizing what I feel is a strength of the Roche board, the diversity of those who are sharing their perspectives and bringing their knowledge to the table. And the more diverse you are, the more you can have a really, let's say, an educated look on the opportunities, risks, which are developing in case of crisis. But the fundament is the trust which you have developed. But this is something you do not develop during crisis times. You have to invest into trust building, into team building of a board on a permanent basis. And then in case of crisis, you can benefit from it.
Do you have an interaction with large institutional investors, the sovereign wealth funds, etc.? Or do you have such an anchor with family, with a Novartis holding, etc., that this is not really happening from your side?
No, in the contrary, we always fear that Roche is in the best of both worlds, because on the one hand side, we have the strong anchor in the share majority of the founding families still. Yeah. That provides us with the opportunity to take decisions independent from short-term shareholder perspective and stock exchange. On the other side, stock exchange and analysts and sovereign wealth funds, they have a look at our company. They share their perspective, which is very helpful if you take this serious.
And you have a sustainability committee, right, combined with your governance committee. Is sustainability there very much environmentally minded, or it's a more long-term view minded for the organization?
Sustainability has been part of our DNA, as we phrase it, probably also triggered by a natural interest in some of the family shareholders in this topic long time before the word sustainability even existed. So this kind of thinking with Lucas Hoffmann, he was one of the co-founders of the WWF. So there is a long-term tradition to include this dimension into the way how we are running the company, how we are acting, what is our system of values, what is the culture of the company. And it's not by chance that the last 10 years Roche has been elected the most sustainable, or one of the two most sustainable healthcare companies worldwide, which is something which we are proud of. And it means that we try to include this dimension in the sense of providing a net positive contribution to society as one of our major ambitions in the company.
Maybe the last topic I would like to approach is really around organizational health, employees. Is this a topic for management only? Is there an interaction between you as chair, Severin as CEO, other board members reflecting on the organizational health? And how have your employees fared during this COVID crisis?
Yeah, there has been a new way of interacting with the employees, less obviously from a board perspective, more from an executive management perspective. Via virtual town hall meetings, for example. So we once, fairly early in the crisis, were able to have 20,000 employees globally included in such a virtual town hall. So that has
But you
changed.
would not participate yourself, right, to some of these, or
No.
you do?
I
that's
do not.
Severin
Normally,
his delegates.
I compliment Severin's business travels to the affiliates in the world, but then I have an opportunity not only to talk to our employees, I will talk to the local management, I can talk to local healthcare stakeholders, politics, for example. So that is a little bit the result of a philosophy that Severin's working days has 24 hours, mine has 24 hours, and together it's 48. So we can achieve a little bit more together.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christoph.
Thank you, Didier.